The room is silent, too silent. Every sound feels louder than it should. A single drop of water falls from a rusty pipe above, echoing like a drum in the darkness. And there, wrapped in layers of plastic, sits a man who knows he will not walk out alive. His name is Prater. And tonight, he belongs to Dexter. The light flickers in the old storage room, buzzing like an insect that refuses to die. Plastic sheets cover the walls, taped with precision, sealing the room into a world of its own. In the center, Prater sits tied to a steel chair, his breathing shallow, his eyes darting from one shadow to another. He struggles against the ropes digging into his wrists, but the more he pulls, the tighter they bite into his skin. Dexter moves silently in the background. Every step is measured, every movement calculated. He isn't in a rush, he never is. He lays out his tools on a metal tray, scalpels, surgical knives, rolls of duct tape. They gleam under the cold light, not as weapons of rage, but as instruments of order. To Dexter, this is not chaos. This is control. The camera never shows Dexter's face. Only his hands as they adjust the gloves, smooth out the plastic, and place each tool exactly where it belongs. His breathing is steady, almost calm, as if he's preparing for surgery rather than what's about to happen. His silence says more than words could. Prater finally speaks, his voice cracking, breaking the stillness. Please, whatever this is, you don't have to do it. I can change, I can make it right. His words bounce off the walls, but they mean nothing here. The room is sealed not just with plastic, but with inevitability. Dexter steps closer, his shadow stretching over Prater's trembling body. The narration comes soft and detached, like a voice speaking from another place. Fear always sounds the same. The begging, the promises, the sudden discovery of regret. But it's never real, not until it's too late. Prater's eyes widen as Dexter pulls the final sheet of plastic across the floor, pressing it flat with the tip of his boot. The sound of the tape tearing fills the air like a warning bell. The space has become a cage, and there is no exit. The camera focuses on small, unsettling details, a drop of sweat rolling down Prater's cheek, the blade of a scalpel catching the light, the soft click of latex gloves tightening around Dexter's fingers. Every detail is part of the ritual. Every sound builds the weight of the moment. Dexter's narration cuts in again. Prater thinks this is random, that he's been unlucky, but the truth is, I've been watching him, studying him, waiting for this night. He doesn't know it yet, but this is justice, my justice. Prater shifts in his seat, pulling at the ropes again, his panic rising. His breath quickens, turning into short gasps. The plastic around the chair creaks with his every move. But no matter how he fights, the room swallows his struggle. Dexter picks up the scalpel and holds it between his fingers. He doesn't use it yet. Instead, he sets it down with care, aligning it perfectly on the tray. The act isn't for Prater, it's for himself. A reminder that control is what separates him from chaos. The silence grows heavier, broken only by Prater's uneven breaths. He tries again, his voice desperate, raw. You don't understand, I didn't mean for it to happen. It wasn't supposed to. Dexter cuts him off, not with words but with movement. He circles the chair slowly, his footsteps echoing like a predator's heartbeat. The narration lowers, darker, heavier. Every predator tells himself the same story. That it was an accident, that he couldn't stop. That it wasn't his fault, but the blood is always there. The truth is always there, and tonight so am I. The camera lingers on Prater's terrified face, sweat dripping, lips trembling. The lights hum louder, the shadows stretch deeper, and the plastic sheets ripple slightly as if the room itself is holding its breath. Dexter finally stops behind Prater, the camera showing only his gloved hands gripping the chair. The tension peaks not with action, but with silence. The kind of silence that feels like a scream waiting to explode. And then softly, almost like a whisper only the audience is meant to hear, Dexter's narration concludes the opening setup. Prater doesn't know it yet, but he's already dead. This is just the part where he realizes it. The screen fades to black, the hum of the lights lingering in the dark. The chair rattles again as Prater twists against the ropes. his breath ragged, his eyes locked on the shining tools laid out like a surgeon's display. The flicker of the overhead bulb sends jagged shadows dancing across the plastic walls, turning the room into a living nightmare. He spits out a trembling question, voice cracking under the weight of his fear. "Who are you? Why are you doing this?" Dexter steps into the half-light, not revealing his face, only his silhouette against the gleam of steel. His voice is calm, collected, free of emotion, yet it slices sharper than any blade. "Who I am doesn't matter. What you've done does." Prater's lips quiver, the words fighting to escape his throat. I didn't do anything," Dexter interrupts with a short, bitter thought in narration, his inner voice echoing above Prater's stammering. "They always deny it." The guilty never run out of excuses. They just run out of time. Dexter circles slowly around the chair, his movements like a predator tightening its grip. His gloved hand brushes across the plastic wall, leaving behind a faint streak. Prater's eyes follow him desperately, like prey tracking its hunter, searching for mercy in a place where none exists. "You think no one noticed?" Dexter continues, his tone low, almost conversational, like he's discussing something mundane. "The women you left behind, the lives you destroyed. You hide behind a smile, a handshake, a lie, but I see you, Prater. I see everything." Prater shakes his head violently, panic bleeding into anger. "You don't know me. You don't know what you're talking about." His voice rises, shrill, echoing against the plastic. But the more he shouts, the more powerless he sounds. Dexter leans close, his gloved hand pressing against the chair's metal back. His voice drops to a whisper that prickles the air. "I know enough to know you don't deserve another sunrise." Prater freezes. His chest heaves as though the very air is betraying him. His eyes dart to the tray of tools, then back to Dexter's shadowed figure. His mind races for an escape that doesn't exist. Narration slips in again, chilling and detached. This is the part one liked best. The mask slips. The arrogance dies, and what's left is the truth, the raw, unfiltered truth. They know they're caught. They know it's over, and I know. My dark passenger is satisfied. Prater swallows hard, his desperation spilling out as he changes tactics. "Please, I can make it right. I'll confess, I'll tell the cops. Everything, just let me live." Dexter chuckles, a low sound that doesn't carry humor, only finality. He tilts his head slightly as if studying an insect pinned under glass. "The law won't fix you. The law never does. Men like you slip through cracks, crawl back into the dark, and do it all over again. But me, I don't leave cracks." Prater thrashes, his chair scraping against the floor, plastic sheets crinkling with every frantic movement. His breath is fast now, almost hyperventilating. His words spill over each other, tumbling out in broken fragments. "It wasn't me. Wasn't like that. They wanted it. I swear." Dexter stops pacing and crouches down, his voice calm, almost clinical. "Lies, just another layer you wrap around yourself, hoping no one cuts deep enough to see the truth." The narration adds weight, sinking deeper into the moment. "I don't do this because I want to. I do this because I have to. Because if I don't, more bodies appear, more families break. And the monster inside me," he waits, hungry, restless. "This isn't mercy. This isn't punishment. This is balance." Prater stares, trembling, words failing him. His mouth opens, but only silence comes out now. His fear has taken his voice. Dexter straightens, gloved hands brushing invisible dust from his shirt. He takes one step closer, standing over Prater. The light flickers again, bathing the plastic walls in a sickly glow. The room feels smaller, heavier, as if it's closing in. Finally, Dexter speaks with quiet conviction. "You are exactly where you're supposed to be." Prater exhales shakily, his eyes welling with tears. The chair creaks one final time as his body slumps in defeat. Realizing the truth, there is no escape, no bargain, no future, and Dexter's narration, cold as ice, seals the moment. This is the point of no return. The instant when fear becomes acceptance. The instant when they realize death has been sitting in the room the whole time. "Wearing my gloves?" The screen lingers on Prater's face, sweat, tears, and terror colliding in silence before the sound fades, leaving only the buzz of the light above. The room is gone still. Prater's breathing, once frantic and loud, now comes in shallow, uneven gasps. He knows there's no escape, but still his eyes dart wildly as though searching for some invisible exit in the plastic walls. The air feels thick, almost suffocating, every sound amplified under the hum of the light above. Dexter doesn't rush. He never does. His movements are deliberate, almost ceremonial, as he picks up a scalpel from the tray. The blade gleams in the half-light, cold and unfeeling. Dexter runs his gloved thumb along its edge, testing its sharpness. Though he already knows it's perfect, he always prepares. He always makes sure. Narration slips in, steady and controlled, like a surgeon explaining his craft. Tools define the act. A hammer creates chaos. A knife creates precision. But this, he lifts the scalpel slightly, this creates truth. Clean, controlled, undeniable truth. Prater tries to speak, but the words choke in his throat. His lips tremble, his voice no more than a whisper. Please, don't. His plea doesn't carry any more. It dissolves into the silence. Dexter steps closer, his shadow stretching across Prater's chest. He places a sheet of clear plastic over Prater's torso, smoothing it down with practiced ease. The sound of the plastic crackling under his gloves is louder than Prater's trembling breaths. Every gesture is ritual. Every step has purpose. The narration deepens. My father taught me a code. Never kill the innocent. Only those who deserve it. At first I thought it was a cage. Now I see it as freedom, a map for the monster inside me. Without it, I'd be lost. With it, I know exactly where to cut. Prater's eyes widen as Dexter picks up the duct tape, tearing it with a sharp rip that echoes across the room. The sound is final, like a clock striking midnight. Dexter presses the tape across Prater's mouth, silencing his last attempts at begging. The muffled whimpers that follow are thin and desperate. Dexter leans down close, his voice low, his words clear. This isn't about me, it's about you. The trail of blood you thought was invisible. Tonight it stops here. Prater shakes. His head violently, tears streaking down his face, but his struggles only tighten the ropes. The camera lingers on the detail, his wrists straining, veins bulging, sweat mixing with tears. The sound design carries the tension, the creak of rope, the flutter of plastic sheets, the buzz of electricity in the lights. Dexter picks up the scalpel again. He doesn't strike fast. He places the blade gently against Prater's cheek, not cutting, just letting the cold metal kiss the skin. The camera holds on Prater's wide eyes, pupils dilated in terror. Narration whispers again. This is the moment. The stillness before the storm. The instant when everything sharpens, when the world narrows down to a single act. The dark passenger waits, and I deliver. The blade moves with steady precision, drawing a thin red line across Prater's cheek. Not fatal, not yet. It's a mark, a reminder, a signature of inevitability. Prater thrashes harder, muffled screams tearing through. The tape. The sound is raw, animalistic, but powerless. Dexter's breathing never changes. Calm, even. He wipes the scalpel clean, sets it back in place, and lifts another tool, a knife heavier, longer, designed for finality. The steel glints under the flickering light. Prater jerks, the chair rattling violently against the floor, but there is no escape. The plastic-covered walls seem to close in tighter, holding him in place like a coffin. His muffled cries rise higher, breaking, desperate. Dexter raises the knife slowly, not for drama, but for control. His voice in narration is steady as ever. People think death is loud. Screams, chaos, violence. But in truth, death is quiet. It's the silence after the last breath. The stillness after the final beat of a heart. The blade plunges. The sound is sharp, tearing through the silence, followed by a muffled scream that dies almost instantly under the tape. The camera doesn't linger on gore, it focuses on the details. Prater's eyes widening, then dimming. The slow relaxation of his wrists as the fight drains from him. The soft patter of blood against the plastic sheet. Dexter holds the knife firm, steady, until the struggling stops. Until the room is still again. His breathing matches the silence, calm, unbroken. He pulls the blade free, wipes it with practiced precision, and places it back on the tray, perfectly aligned. He removes the plastic from Prater's chest, folding it neatly as though tidying up after an operation. Every action is clean, controlled, ritualistic. Narration settles over the scene like a final verdict. Prater is gone. Another name erased from the darkness. Another balance restored. The world won't notice. They never do, but I will. My dark passenger will, and that's enough. The camera lingers one last time on Prater's lifeless form, bound, silent. Still, the light flickers overhead, casting the body in a cold, sterile glow. The hum of electricity continues, indifferent to what just happened, and Dexter, calm as ever, begins to prepare for what comes next. The room is silent again, but it's not the same silence as before. Before, the air was heavy with fear, with the sound of Prater's desperate breathing. Now, there is nothing, only stillness. Death has its own kind of quiet, and Dexter knows it well. He steps back, removing his gloves one finger at a time, each snap echoing like a closing chapter. The latex drops into a plastic-lined trash bag. He ties it neatly as though it's just another chore. To Dexter it is. This isn't chaos. This is order. Narration drifts through, calm and steady, a voice that doesn't belong to guilt or grief. But to ritual, most people see death as an end. For me, it's a transition. One moment they exist. The next, they're nothing but a memory, a stain I wipe away, a file closed in my mind. The world keeps moving, and I move with it. The camera lingers on Prater's lifeless form, slumped against the ropes, his head tilted downward, eyes forever frozen in terror. Dexter tilts the chair gently forward, easing the body onto the floor with care, as if handling something fragile. He doesn't look at the face anymore. There's no one left to see. Only waste to be disposed of. He retrieves a roll of heavy plastic and begins to wrap the body, folding it over once, twice, sealing it tight. The sound of the plastic crinkling is loud in the still room. Each fold is smooth, every knot precise. A craftsman perfecting his work. There is no hesitation, no wasted motion. Narration deepens, his inner voice almost reflective. I've always wondered if the dead know they're dead. If somewhere, in the seconds after the last breath, they finally understand. Maybe Prater realized it. Maybe he didn't. It doesn't matter. What matters is that he can't hurt anyone anymore. Dexter kneels, securing the final wrap of duct tape around the plastic bundle. He lifts it with practiced strength, dragging it slowly across the floor. The sound of the body sliding is muffled against the plastic sheets beneath like sandpaper against glass. It's not messy. It's not dramatic. It's routine. He sets the wrapped form near the far corner of the room, where a drain wait's hidden, under the plastic layers. He pulls back the sheets carefully, exposing the grate, then removes the last traces of blood with a cloth soaked in bleach. Every surface is wiped clean. The tray of tools is washed, each blade gleaming again as though untouched. Dexter removes the top sheet from the wall, folds it into a compact square, and slides it into another bag. One by one, the walls of plastic disappear, leaving behind the empty, ordinary room it once was. No blood, no signs of struggle. Nothing that ties this place to what happened here tonight. Narration threads through again. Colder, sharper. Prater is gone, and the world will never know. They'll walk the streets tomorrow unaware that a predator has vanished from their midst. No new story. No trial, no justice in the way they imagine it, just absence. A hole that no one notices. And that's the way it should be. Dexter strips off his protective clothing, placing it into the bag with the plastic sheets. He ties it tight, layering his secrets within layers of plastic, burying every trace. He slips back into his regular clothes, the ones that make him invisible in daylight. The mask of normalcy slides on as effortlessly as his gloves did earlier. He pauses, looking at the bundle one last time. Not with regret, not with triumph, but with the stillness of someone completing a necessary task. His inner voice comes again, thoughtful but cold. I don't feel joy in this. I don't feel sorrow either. What I feel is balance, like a scale tipping back to where it belongs. like gravity itself pulling the world into place. Dexter flicks the light switch. The bulb hums one last time before the room sinks into darkness. The plastic-wrapped body waits in silence, unseen, unheard. A problem solved. A hunger-fed dot outside, the night is quiet, the streets empty. The camera follows Dexter's footsteps as he walks away, calm, measured, blending back into the world. That will never suspect what lurks within him. The narration closes the chapter. His tone steady, final. Prater's story ends here. Mine continues. The dark passenger is patient, but it always returns. And when it does, I'll be ready. The screen fades to black. The hum of the light lingers for a moment longer, like an echo of what the audience just witnessed, before silence consumes everything.